And now, AM 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome to Experts on Call here on AM 650. I'm Sterling Fox, joined in studio by a couple of gold guys from Vancouver Gold. The CEO and co-owner, Charlie Pollock, is in studio. Hi, Charlie. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
It's good of you to join us today, along with your regional manager, Greg Neilson. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Sterling. It's great to be here.
Well, it's good to have you both here. Vancouver Gold, Canada's trusted neighborhood gold buyers. This is a national company, Charlie. You're one of the co-owners. You're the CEO. But you really, despite growing on a national basis, you try and take each individual location and treat it as a community office, a community entity all by itself, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It kind of goes back to how we started as a company. We started with a single office. Actually, we started even before that. We just started, meeting people in places. So that was how we were really different from the competition. You didn't have to send it in. We gave one-on-one service. So yeah, we try to keep each store, dealing with its community, seeing people on one-on-one, giving the estimates. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All
right. Well, let's take even one step back away from there.
Yeah.
And talk about your company, the one you founded,
mm-hmm.
and you co-own with your brothers across Canada. What exactly does the company do, Charlie?
Absolutely. Yeah. We buy gold. We focus on jewelry, so anything people have lying around their house. We buy silver jewelry, gold jewelry, and you come into our office. We kind of sit down one-on-one with each person in kind of a no pressure environment, and we'll test the gold. We'll give an estimate on what that's worth, and if they're interested in selling, we buy it on the spot there for them.
Interesting. Now, this is a very timely conversation, Greg and Charlie, because, well, just a couple of days ago, spring happened, and a lot of us are, stuck with spring cleaning job jar assignments for the next few weeks. And during the course of spring cleaning over the next few weeks, more than a few of us are going to come across something. A bit of jewelry, an object, maybe something that was a gift, maybe something that goes back to your high school graduation or even further. And you're going to go, my gosh, I'd forgotten I even had this thing. Well, now what do I do with it? Maybe it's worth something. How do I go about finding out if this object I haven't seen for 20 years and discovered at the back of that old drawer is actually worth something, Charlie? What do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 4 stores in the Lower Mainland. We've got a Vancouver store on Broadway. We've got one in Surrey, one in Richmond, and one in North Van.
Okay.
So you just kind of gather up whatever you have. You don't have to know what it is or what you're expecting. We can kind of let you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you come into one of our stores, no appointment necessary. You just kind of walk in, and we'll sit down with you and give you all the details.
Now, if I walk into one of the 4 stores, and there's one in Victoria, too, we should hasten to add, Greg.
That's right.
Am I going to find, old accordions and guitars on the walls? Is this... I have in my mind's eye, when I'm thinking of buying and selling gold, I see, for some reason, I'm thinking pawn shop, and I don't know that that's the right thing to go to in my mind's eye, but that's what I see. Tell me whether I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really surprised when they come into one of our stores. They're going to find the experience to be very, very pressure-free. It's not a pawn shop.
No accordions on the wall. Okay.
No.
Who knows, right?
Yeah,
We're
not. We're not the guys from the Pawn Kings, reality shows that you see. Our stores are set up to facilitate. It's a financial transaction.
Right.
Our offices are professional. They're located in very convenient areas of town. And our staff there are highly trained to just specifically to test for precious metals, for gold and silver.
Right.
Yeah, and when you come into our store, I mean, there's really no expectation that you know exactly what it is that you're bringing in. We have all the testing equipment on site. It's helpful if you know the different carats of your jewelry or
But most of us don't.
Yeah, most people don't, and it's really not a big deal. If you bring it in, we can sort through it.
Sometimes on the actual piece, Charlie, you'll see stamped 18K or 10K or whatever. That's the clue that you have as the uninitiated civilian, that you may have an idea what carat this gold thing is, but not all pieces even have that stamp, do they?
That's precisely right. They don't all have the stamp. The stamp is, if it's there, you can probably trust it.
Right.
The problem is, even if it was there, it's often rubbed off, or it's so small that you can't really see. We have a little jeweler's loop that kind of everyone in the business uses to find those stamps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's obviously not the only thing we go with for our testing either.
Right.
That's the first step, and that's the best thing for people. If someone asks us, what do I expect when I come in? That's probably the best first step to check their stamps and know maybe what they're expecting. We have all our prices posted online.
Okay.
By the prices break down by carat, so the more pure your gold is, or the higher carat, the more you're going to get per gram.
I should probably point out that Vancouver Gold has a terrific website. Greg, give us the address, because a lot of people listening have access. They'll just lean over and pull up the website while they're listening to this conversation. What is the website, please?
Yeah, it's vancouvergold.ca.
Okay.
And from there you can go through to any one of our offices, except Victoria. I believe they have their own separate site. It's victoriagoldandsilver.com.
Right. Now, I should point this out, too, because even though it is a national chain, Charlie, you and two of your brothers are growing this company literally in Ontario and Alberta as we speak, as well as what you're up to here in British Columbia. The 3 of the 4 stores in the Lower Mainland are Vancouver Gold stores, but the one in Surrey is just called Surrey Gold. The one in Victoria is Victoria Gold. All the same company, but this is part of that localizing initiative that you took right from the get-go, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. We want people to know that it is in their community. When we started, this was 2009 or so, the most of the gold had kind of doubled in price, going from $300 to a new all-time or new kind of high of the last 20 years of about $600 an ounce. So there were all these kind of new options kind of sprouting up. There was a Super Bowl ad that year with MC Hammer kind of advertising mail in your gold.
Right.
And that's what kind of got it on everyone's mind. So we kind of looked around we had some stuff. We were interested in selling gold. My brother and I, we had some stuff from, we just kind of gathered up. There were some gifts, and we didn't know what to do with it. We ended up, looking around locally and not finding anything. So we kind of resorted to those mail-in companies. Mm-hmm. And we just had a bad experience, basically.
Right.
We had to kind of fight to get the stuff back after, we did research on what price we should be getting for our items, what they were worth at that $600 an ounce.
Right. And whoever was offering to buy your gold didn't even come close.
They
right?
didn't come close, and they didn't give us the details on what it was we got. So they just, they gave us a number, and I think a lot of the people didn't know really what they should be expecting, so they get a number and assume that's correct.
Well, that's and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think in terms of selling gold, a lot of people are aware of this. Well, you put it in, we'll give you one of these special security envelopes, and you send it off to us, Greg, and then we'll assess it, and we'll send you back a check, and that's that. Bob's your uncle. It's all over. Well, it struck me the very first time I saw that ad, wait a second, you want me to put Grandma's gold gift to my dad into an envelope and ship it through the mails to some place somewhere and trust that it's going to get there, and at the other end, I'm going to get fair treatment from some unknown third party? That's bizarre. And yet that's probably, Greg, the way most people think of when they think of, well, I've got this gold. I'd love to sell it. It's probably worth some dough. Do I have to mail it somewhere? The short answer is no.
No, you don't. And I mean, I guess the appeal to mailing it is that that's just the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
You call that number, they send you an envelope in the mail, and you're done with it.
There's no effort required.
No, it's very little effort, but the reality is that you're dropping it in the mail and you're hoping that it gets to where it's going. And once it's there, I mean, as soon as you drop it in the mailbox, it's completely out of your control.
Right.
You don't have the option to say, oh, no, that's not quite enough, or maybe I'd like to shop around and get a better price.
And I don't know enough about the business. Once you send it to them, Charlie,
mm-hmm.
do they keep it? Or can they send it back and say, we don't want to buy it? Or I mean, that's the other part of the risk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're sending it off to some unknown party, and maybe they're going to send you a check back, and that's the end of the transaction. Even if you're not happy with the money, it's gone, and that's it. It's over, right?
Yeah, in most cases, most websites will offer or, claim some sort of, you can get your items back in the mail, you pay shipping perhaps.
Right.
It's a real hassle to do that. That's exactly how we started, was by trying to send stuff in to just get fair market for, we weren't looking to start a business on day one there. We were looking to send stuff in and get paid fairly for what we had.
Right.
Yeah, the problem is there's no...
You said you had a bad experience. So I gather you didn't get paid as fairly as you were hoping to be paid.
No, we sent in we had a decent amount there. We had probably $3,000 or so. My grandfather was in the kind of jewelry industry back 20, 30 years ago, so we had some stuff from that. So we kind of knew what we were dealing with, and we didn't have a local option to do it, so we sent it in and got, I think, an offer of $400 or so.
Holy
for
cow.
our $2,500 worth of gold jewelry.
Right.
So we, asked for it back, went through their normal channels, and it was just a big back and forth where they, I think, offered us then $100 more for the items, and then we said, no, please send it back, and they said, how about $50 more? Going up these...
Nickel and diming you on it, eh?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Nowhere near the real value.
We got it back there, and then we sent it to someone else and had the identical experience there. All these places called some variation of cash for gold or cash for dollars for gold. They're all these different companies, so none of them is building up a reputation, really. They're all kind of sharing one reputation. There's no incentive for them, basically, to do a good job.
So the reason why, Charlie, though, did you send this stuff away? I assume you were in Vancouver at the time, right?
We were, yeah.
Okay, so why wasn't there, was there not a place in Vancouver 3 or 4 years ago that you could go to and do the kind of thing people can now do with Vancouver Gold? Was there no such establishment 5 years ago?
The promises they made online involved their prices, and those prices were better than you'd get from a pawn shop or a jewelry store locally. So those were the options before.
So it was pawn shop or jewelry store, or send it in the mail?
Or send it in the mail. And the sending in the mail, that was the new business, and they put a price on it that was much higher than you'd get going in locally. It turns out that going in locally, even back then, before there were kind of specialized gold buyer, was a better option for you. But we kind of took at face value the offer online. So we did try to send it in. After we got the stuff back, we did go to a couple of jewelry stores, and again, didn't really have the luck we wanted. And then we approached a refinery to deal with our stuff, and they offered to do it. Basically there were some fees to do that, but it ended up being the best option for us. So that's exactly what we did. We actually posted an ad on Craigslist to see if we can get a bigger load together to kind of do a shared thing. We do better the more we send into this refinery, basically. So we gathered some other people up kind of in the same situation as we were in, and we gathered up, I think, about $10,000 worth of gold, which was literally just a handful. It wasn't a lot. It sounds like a big dollar amount, but it really adds up quickly.
$600 an ounce in those days. It does add up quickly, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Let me take a break. The guys from Vancouver Gold are with us on Experts on Call this edition. CEO and co-owner Charlie Pollock in studio, along with regional manager Greg Neilson. I'm Sterling Fox, and we're back with lots more right after this.
There's still more ahead with Experts on Call, the show focused on delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.